Hey everybody, what's up? Chad Wesley Smith here for Juggernaut Training Systems, continuing our series on strength and conditioning for Jiu-Jitsu. Today I am joined by Julian Vanderlinden. He is a black belt under Professor Romulo. He is also a student of physical therapy, working on his doctorate of physical therapy. Get that in a couple years, and we're going to be talking about some effective prehab strategies for the most common areas of pain and injury for Jiu-Jitsu. So Julian's going to take me through some drills to help fortify the shoulder and elbow, the low back, neck, and knees against injury. So I'll let you take it from here.
All right, so the first drill we're going to work on is just going to be a bear crawl. So I'm just going to have Chad get into this quadruped position on his hands and knees. So go ahead. From there, exactly, so he's going to float his knees up about 1 inch off the floor, and then he's keeping a good press out here like I'm lifting him up from a string from between his shoulder blades there. Now that's activating his serratus anterior and shoulder stability here, as the infraspinatus and teres minor have to stabilize the shoulder in this position. From here, I want him to rock back onto his hips, actively pressing into the floor. And you'll notice Chad's shoulder blades are nice and around his rib cage here. I cannot grab underneath his scapula right here. So he has good activation here of all the muscles in his shoulder joint. And go ahead and do 10 of those. So come forward and come back. So that'll be the first exercise. From there, once he knocks out 10 of those, I want him to stay in that bear crawl position, or some people call this the beast hold. And then all I want him to do is lift one hand up and alternating touching your shoulders. That's going to give extra load to that shoulder and also activate the oblique muscles, which are going to stop him from rotating and anti-rotation here. So when you're in jiu-jitsu, you have to be able to stabilize a neutral spine in a lot of different positions. So notice how Chad is doing really well here. If I had a glass of water right here on his back, it would not spill at all. There's no movement occurring here at the pelvis. Now what I want him to do is just extend one leg back 10 times.
We can cut it out with these 10. How about 5?
Oh, right? 5. 5 times.
Same leg?
Yeah, you can just do a couple reps, and then we'll switch to the other side. Nice. And then the other side. And now let's see if you're able to. This is kind of advanced, but we're going to go that leg and the opposite hand and combine them together now.
Like a super bird dog.
Super bird dog, exactly. A loaded bird dog. Nice. Very good. So this is dynamic stability for the shoulders. He has to react to his body trying to shift around and really activate those shoulder muscles to stabilize himself. The abdominals are firing. The glutes are firing to get that leg into extension. All the muscles between the shoulder blades. Beautiful. Ready, broke a sweat.
No, that's not saying much for me.
All right, cool. So now we can do some movement. So from here, if you're on a jiu-jitsu mat, feel free to crawl across the mat, having good form. And this is getting that cross-crawl patterning. The right and left hemispheres of the brain working together. So I'm building muscle coordination and stability. So I can go forwards and backwards, and I can also go laterally. If you want to put a band around the hands, you can do that as well. And I'm working different planes of motion, which is, in jiu-jitsu, we work all different planes of motion. We'll put the mini band around your wrist, a nice light one for the wrist. Add a little resistance to the shoulders, and then we'll put a mini band around the knees. Here, I'll throw that. So the mini band around the knees is working the glute medius, muscle right here, shoulders, posterior deltoid, all the external rotators.
Same side or opposite?
Let's go laterally when you have the bands on. Perfect. So we're going to the resistance is going into the bands, and just one lap will be solid. Keep the knees right in front of those feet. Good. Keep those knees nice and wide, and hips nice and stable the whole time. Good. And then back the other way. So always think in the glass of water, balance on the low back right there. Neck is neutral. Everything else is neutral. Perfect. Nice. Rest right there. So also when you're on the jiu-jitsu mat, before you begin a match or anything like that, if you want to get your shoulders warmed up, we can come lay down here, and then I'm just going to come up and over. Pretend like there's like a kettlebell or some type of object right there, and come up and over the object. So right here, coming here, working the low traps. Get your abs squeezed the entire time. We should not feel any pressure in our low back. This is building stability in an overhead position. Thumbs up, so I know you're having a good time. It's also going to stay in external rotation. So here I feel these low traps working really well. His abs are engaged. Spine is neutral. Perfect. Nice work. Then we'll also work external rotation into internal rotation. So you can call these like reverse snow angels. So here to here, coming up. Keep the hands higher than the elbows the entire time.
How's my hand turning? Palm down or palm up?
Yeah, so thumbs up at the top position, and then you're going to come back down and go into internal rotation. So, yep, exactly. Nice, so palms up, perfect. There you go. Nice. Thumbs up to the backs of the hands, so about perfect. Good. How's that feel in your shoulders?
Oh, pretty good.
Awesome.
All right, so Julian's got me sweating my ass off already with these shoulder exercises. Now, especially if you're like me, coming from a powerlifting or strength sports background, low back can be particularly problematic when starting jiu-jitsu. I know for me, I'd spent so much time trying to just stabilize and keep this neutral low back position that being able to get my back to flex and extend while still being safe made it really hard for me to transition, and kind of exacerbated some back problems I have. And low back, particularly for guard players, is going to be something that's pretty prone to injury for jiu-jitsu athletes. So Julian's going to show some strategies to help fortify the low back as well as the knees against injury. I don't know if my knees could ever actually get injured, but I think whatever injured them would probably kill me. So,
all right. So we're going to start with just a side bridge to start. Here, you're on elbow, knees. You're just going to bridge up and squeezing this elbow towards your hips, and you should feel your lat engaged and your abs, your side obliques firing. Just going to do 5 of those. The side bridge. I'm sure you've done this one before. Nice. Good. Notice how he's actively pressing out that arm, and his lats are firing. His glutes are firing. Obliques are tight. Awesome. The next progression to there, we're going to incorporate our adductors into this. So, coming here, I can put my foot on an elevated surface, and then I'm going to bridge up and come down. I can extend and drive that knee up, or just hold here and just stabilize myself.
Yeah, I found when I started doing jiu-jitsu, there's so much more like internal rotation demand on my hip. It's almost non-existent, like you're pretty much trying to avoid when you're powerlifting. Mm-hmm. So the internal rotation, and then just like squeezing people in the guard, or playing open guard and trying to resist having my leg pushed down to the floor. The adductors were very problematic.
Nice. Adding a little bit of movement could increase demand on the body. It's natural perturbations there. Looking very strong there, Chad. If you feel any knee pain with this, some of you might when you're first starting out in this exercise, I want you to just support the knee onto the bench and then come up and hold it there and then gradually build to the progression here, which Chad did the final progression over here.
And you guys may have noticed that even compared to what Julian was doing, I have more of my, I had maybe like the middle of my calf or the bottom of my calf on the box. The farther you get away from the box, the harder it's going to be.
Exactly. So the next exercise, he was talking about being able to rotate and be dynamic with our movement. So I don't want the rotation coming from the low back. I don't want the rotation really coming from the neck. I want it to come from the mid back. So all we're going to do is do that exact same side bridge. This time we'll do the full side bridge. I'm going to bridge up. I'm just going to practice rotating through. So getting some good thoracic mobility, which is very important anytime you're playing jiu-jitsu and reaching, pulling. Nice. Good. You'll notice Chad's in a good straight solid line here. Everything is in one line. He's not hinged over. And you would just do both sides from there. You may also, if you want to add a little bit more shoulder to the mix, you can do it on your hand. And if I'm on my hand, I want to make sure that I'm driving into external rotation, getting that shoulder packed down in a healthy position. So I should be trying to point my elbow pit forward or up as I'm coming down. Through and up. Through and up. And notice I'm not sinking into my shoulder here. My shoulder is away from my ear because ears are shoulder poison. And I'm being stable there. Do you want to try that one, Chad?
Sure.
Let's do it. Let me know how it feels. Good. How's that feel?
Definitely harder.
Yeah. That'll be one of the final progressions. If you want to float this leg up too, but don't add the rotation there, we can add some glute medius work to this hip here, warming up the glutes against gravity there. Awesome. So now for the final progressions for the knee, or exercises to bulletproof those knees. If I have another elevated surface or against the wall, I'm just going to practice pressing my hips away for a single leg bridge. Pressing my hips away. So try to feel that one in your glutes versus your hamstrings by actively thinking about pressing your hips away. Nice. Good range of motion. Perfect. How's this one feel?
Good.
Cool.
Because I've been having those back problems, I've been doing a lot of this kind of stuff.
You've already well practiced. And notice how this area doesn't change position. So a lot of times you'll end up overextending those abs at the top, and that's just coming from your low back. He has no motion coming from his low back. His low back is staying neutral, and his abs are staying crunched the entire time. So everything's coming from the hips. Nice. So another progression or another exercise to do, if you have a stability ball, we'll do some hamstring curls. Lying on your back. Hamstrings are super important. They serve the same function as the ACL. They prevent the lower leg from translating forward. So if I can get these nice and strong, I'll help strengthen my knees. The knee is just a product of the hip and the ankle. So if my ankles and my hips are strong, then my knees will be healthy. And I can progress it to single leg. Go out nice and slow. Get that eccentric lengthening and come up. Some of these exercises are pretty challenging, but Chad's doing really well here. It's just body weight, but makes the body weight feel like heavyweight with the...
Especially when you got a heavy body weight.
Exactly.
I'll leave the one-legged ones to you.
Cool. So also, a lot of people like to do planks. In jiu-jitsu, we commonly will do planks before we start practicing. So we can add, if we have the stability ball, add a perturbation plank. I'm going to stay in external rotation here. I don't want to come into here. I want to train into a healthy shoulder position. Put my shoulders onto the ball, just like Chad did with bear crawl. Press those shoulders out. I'm already shaking. I'm driving my feet towards my elbows and my elbows towards my feet. And then just holding that position. If you're doing a real plank, you should be shaking. I'm not passively hanging out in a position. I'm not hanging on my joints, hanging on my ligaments. I'm actively here. Notice how he has a nice neutral spine here. He's driving these two sections of his body together. And if I add some perturbations, nothing's happening. He's very strong there.
All right, so the final area that we're going to talk about is the neck. Obviously, you're doing a sport where people are trying to choke you. So the neck is going to face a lot of stress, open to injury, you're getting stacked, a lot of things that can go wrong with the neck. If you haven't been blessed like me to have this giant juggernaut from birth, develop my 20-inch neck, having to carry this thing around my whole life, you may need some extra exercises to keep your neck healthy. So Julian's going to show us a couple.
Okay, the first thing, a lot of people, because we're in a rounded forward, a lot of times work, school, everything like that, we end up extending our neck. So a lot of people's starting position is already an extension. So first what I want you to do is extend your T-spine, get into neutral, retract your chin slightly, and then you begin to exercise from there. The first exercise, we're going to go off that same bear crawl sequence. I'm going to put the band right behind my head. I'm going to apply as much resistance as I want. And I can float those knees up to kill two birds with one stone and activate the abs as well. I'm just going to do little chin retractions here. So think about putting the chin down and like I'm being pulled up from a string here and lengthening my neck out at the same time. So some repetitions there, get some time under tension. Good. So yes, perfect. It's like you smell something you don't like and you just kind of move your face back. Good. That might be pretty low resistance for you. You might not even feel anything right now. Okay, once you build up some time under tension on that and fatigue, then I want you to lie on your back.
Would you say it would be like typical rep ranges and stuff you'd recommend?
For those, I would go higher reps because these deep neck flexors are endurance muscles. So I'd recommend 3 sets of 30 reps.
Even maybe do them as like timed sets, just like
timed sets would be excellent.
Smooth tempo for a minute or something.
Perfect, 45 seconds to a minute, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, don't think about reps actually. Like Chad was saying, think about time under tension, quality movement. Now this next one, I'm just lying on my back and I'm just gonna bring my chin down and practice holding that position in a neutral neck. Once I'm able to hold this neutral neck position, then I can do a lot of exercises from here where I'm using a weight plate to come up to that position or any type of added load, external load. But first, master it without load. If you want to use a weight plate, we usually will wrap it in a towel. So we're going to put it right here, and I'm just going to come up and then hold it. Come up, hold it. And these are the little deep neck flexors in your cervical spine that kind of serve the same purpose as the ligaments. They're small muscles that run up and down your C-spine. And so it doesn't take much weight, and you'll feel some results.
I think that's a big thing with all these corrective exercises, prehab, whatever you want to call them, is like when you really nail the details of it and being really, if we said, all right, do 20 yards of bear crawls and you just, scamper through it all quick, it's not that hard. But to do like the really strict and slow ones, you can get so much more out of, get more out of less with those type of exercises.
Exactly, yeah. All these rehabilitation exercises are just building muscle coordination, building technique into movement patterns. We're not going for any type of high weight here, and you'll still, the same Chad here, 200, 300 pounds, he's going to use 5-pound weights, just like maybe a 150-pound person will, but he's still going to feel a good amount of fatigue and everything because the muscles tend to be smaller that we're working here too. Good. And then just hold that weight there, lengthening here. Do you feel in your neck right now?
It's
not too hard?
Pretty light for me.
Let me see. Let me try one thing real quick. So retract down here, then hold that. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Let me know how that is.
Like more with this chin
yes,
tuck?
Yes, exactly. More of a chin tuck and more lengthening out here. Yes.
I got no length.
That's good. Do you feel anything there?
Yeah. A
little bit? Yeah.
The
average person's able to hold this position about 39 seconds for a male. So if you put some weight on there and you hold it for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, it'll feel pretty good. All right, thanks so much for watching. Thank you to Julian Vanderlinden, black belt at Gracie Barra Northridge under Professor Romulo Barral, student of physical therapy, for coming and sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much, Julian. Thank you.
Where can people follow you?
On Instagram, it's going to be Julian Vanderlinden.
Spell that for him. We'll put it on the screen, but
yeah, Julian, Julian, Vanderlinden is Vanderlinden.
All right, so hopefully that gave you some good ideas, things you can add 5-10 minutes at the start of your training, either your strength training or your jiu-jitsu training. Make sure you're staying healthy, staying on the mats, getting as much quality training as you can. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.